Okay, so we're going to continue on with our next session. This will be a fireside chat with qBotica. So qBotica is one of our esteemed partners, and specifically for this session, we'll talk about three topics. Firstly, we'll talk about what are some of the key trends that they're seeing in the world of CX and contact centers. Number two, obviously about agentic. And number three, also get their perspective on what are the pitfalls and best practices for implementation. So with that, please welcome onto the stage Mahesh and Huw.
Thank you.
So you may have noticed that Mahesh and I were smiling because for the last month, I was practicing how to pronounce his last name. I chickened out, unfortunately. But Mahesh, you can say yourself. All right, so let's begin with a quick introduction about your background and as well your role. Let's start with you, Mahesh.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Rafino. What a great conference, right? Okay, I'm Mahesh. Yes, that's right. You need more shout-outs. Okay, I'm Mahesh, the CEO and founder of qBotica, and I'm a technology and an AI evangelist, right? So when I'm not at the cricket ground or playing pickleball, I'm actually not working in my little den. I'm out there evangelizing AI and technology at schools. Actually, I teach second graders to sixth graders now and then, every quarter, in my local school. And then I'm on the board of ASU on the technology and entrepreneurship management stuff and mentor students kind of like get onto the entrepreneurship journey. And I'm also on the board of FBLA and the Northern Virginia Community College. If you see the trend, I like to work with, kids, and people that are really earning to do, getting the technology world and the entrepreneurship world. That's what about me.
So basically, you should win the Nobel Prize.
No. I'm just encouraging others as well to get out of that den and do more, yes.
And Huw, will you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, Rafino. So interesting story for me is I've been a customer consuming UiPath in the front office in the contact center. I've also been a UiPath employee for several years. I was running the CX practice here in UiPath. And now I'm a partner, and we're focusing not just on CX, but it's a core capability for us. And what's been interesting in what goes back to essentially 30 years of contact center exposure is what we're seeing right now is fascinating. We really have a huge, genuine opportunity to move the needle when it comes to a customer interaction. So my role is to really identify where those opportunities are, help our customers to categorize them, help them to quantify them, and most importantly, help them to execute them really, really quickly.
So Huw, welcome home, first of all.
Feels that way.
Let me ask you, how does it feel coming back to Forward, but this time as a partner?
It's a great question, and I was reflecting actually on the last, I think this is my sixth Forward. It genuinely feels, and I think there was mentioned in the keynote yesterday, that when you look at the start of RPA and what is now really the start of the next generation of automation with agentic, it does genuinely feel like it's a fundamental change. And when we look at CX, that gets much more exciting, I think, because when you look at agentic and persona-based automation, I think that's so important when you look at the role of the contact center agent, just to confuse matters, but the role of that customer service representative and how they could be influenced by that real-time data in context to assist them really with servicing the customer at that level.
Well, again, Huw, welcome back.
Thank you.
And Mahesh, in addition, I have to ask, in addition to being a future Nobel Prize winner, can I ask, just because you are the CEO and founder, maybe a quick word about the origins of qBotica as well as your vision for the company?
Yeah, that's great. So I used to work for a very large company managing about $300 million worth of their business, like literally every quarter just counting numbers and all that. I got bored with it. Like I said, I'm a technology evangelist, so I wanted to really get off that and create technology, make impact, give real outcomes to my customers. So instead of just creating an FTE-based company or just a software that I'm going to just, not understand how it's being adopted. I wanted to kind of really create a company that can actually deliver both the value of, a service and of software. So I'm creating an automation as a service platform. And while going through that, and as much as playful and passionate I am, some people see that as problematic as well. So, like investors, I didn't get enough money, so so I created a nice, framework and a nice team and a talent to drive that vision. But instead of building the software, actually work with UiPath to kind of really be that underpinning of our offerings. So we have our own offering called Document AI, as well as we provide automation as a service, which is actually powered by UiPath. So that's kind of what we do at qBotica, and that's the reason I started this was because I think the old model of technology outsourcing is completely dead, and it's dud rather, and we wanted to make a change in the enterprises.
Well, a very noble goal. Let's shift to the world of CX and Huw, 30 years of experience. Let me ask you, even compared to, let's say, 2 years ago, what are you seeing as the big changes in the world of CX and contact centers?
I love Dan's comment earlier about the magpie effect, about, there's an abundance of tech. There's no shortage of that. So I think there's an absolute recognition that the customer has changed. The way that they want to be serviced and interact with the brand is fundamentally changed. We all have our own expectations of being, solved and serviced immediately. Plus, I think the role of the contact center has changed in the fact that it is perceived more as a revenue center in terms of to try and drive brand advocacy, brand loyalty.
That's right.
So you've got this fusion of evolving technology, evolving customer, and together with that, the complexity of heavily regulated, complex environments. So what we're seeing now is a huge opportunity to drive out those simple tasks to self-service, as we've seen and talked about earlier. What's left? Heavily regulated, complex revenue drivers, and that genuinely needs some phenomenal support. When you're coupling that with large attrition, large churn in these environments, huge staff turnover, having to constantly battle, train, backfill, and of course service that need. So it's the here and now, and it's definitely at that point where technology is heavily going to influence the human.
And Mahesh, just to build on that, clearly more complexity, greater demands from customers, greater demands and pressures on the representatives, the call center reps. What's your approach and perspective in terms of the mindset shift we need in terms of how we enable the call center representatives?
I think, great question, Rafino. I think the first thing is, we need to kind of let AI guide us. I keep saying this, to people that, to an extent, in some of those flows, I think having those, we have actually at the point of service, we have so rigid rules that when we talk to some customer service, call centers or kind of like companies, you call them for a changing ticket or, how many times have you felt like? It doesn't mean logical at all, the answer that's being given, because they are guided by those rules. And also, to an extent, they're guided by the system restrictions out there. I think, we need to kind of break them, first of all. And to kind of even start to break them, we need to kind of really have that mindset that the technology is here to kind of really take hold of that particular situation, and it can adapt, and it can actually help that agent to kind of make that right decision. In fact, you have the agent himself. If it's completely illogical, if something is saying, if it's hallucinating, or if it's saying something wrong, then he's there. But most times, if we have that ability to kind of really let the AI guide us. And the other thing is, we are seeing the traditional automation systems, are a bit clunky, or the agent has to actually, apart from the skill levels that they have today, they have to learn one more thing and remember how to do things and all that. So we need to have a natural interface, like a web browser, or to put a plugin, autopilot type of interface, right, where it's natural for them to interact with that particular system And then where it will not only guide them into what to say. I know that some of those applications at the front office kind of really be there telling them, oh, you have to say this, you have to say this, prompt them, prompts. It's basically lots of prompts at their screens. But it needs to also take the action, right? It needs to complete that action. As it says, okay, this is what the next step is. And they say, do you agree, or do you want to proceed? And then yes, and then it go and do that action. And help facilitate that you can do a lot more. Today, we know they take notes, and then the action is done after the call, right? Really, there is no the resolution really happening at that point. It's happening after the call. So what if we actually the after call resolution or the execution of that particular aspect, fulfillment of that action, is done through bots, right? Most of us use attended bots at the back office that's fulfilling it. How do we surface this? How do we actually make it happen? And so my philosophy is like, just not what to say, but also act on it. And also I'm talking about a combination of action, which is the RPA piece of it. It's there at the back office, put it at the front. Add an element of intelligence, which already is there today, right? Using some element of intelligence, whether it's OCR, IDP type of comms mining or kind of NLP-based stuff that's out there. And I would say add the mastery to it. Allow the AI to be the master. So that should be the aim. That's where the acronym is. So, go ahead.
So I think definitely the concept of say and do.
Yes.
And you also mentioned a number of technologies that can enable us. Obviously, very complicated with tech stack in terms of many different vendors, systems, applications. And Huw, could you perhaps maybe simplify that for us to demystify the tech stack?
Simplify is an interesting word because it's complex in the sense of, let's look at the evolution first of all. We've seen this huge shift, not a huge amount of time from what was traditionally IVR now through to we're seeing, bedding in of chatbots and speech analytics, but really at quite a short period of time moving to this, conversational AI-enabled and agentic movement. And together with that, the customer expectations changed dramatically, and it's continuing. Yeah. So it's becoming more complex. Customer patience expectation is shortening. And of course, the technology is compounding. So what I'm trying to illustrate here is we're seeing three core technology sets. We're seeing conversational AI or self-service. So your NLP, your ability to drive that autonomous service, top left. We're seeing CCaaS vendors who are delivering some really powerful capabilities around routing and IVR and analytics reporting and a number of other function elements. But what we're not necessarily seeing mainstream is where the automation set sits in this stack. And when you pull these together, and look at that central point, you're really driving that agentic capability. You're able to drive proactive interaction. And then you see where CCaaS and the automation vendors overlap. And I'm certainly not going to steal Robert's thunder on the CX Companion demo later, but it's absolutely about agentic desktop automation. It's about driving that. It's emulating the human. It's how do you drive a much more enabled contact center representative? How do you present the next best action, not just the recommendation, but the trigger to action? How do you drive more customer loyalty, provide the insights on that customer to assist them immediately and resolve that at the first point of contact? So purposely what's not in this, CRM, ERPs, we're seeing that wrap around the edge. This is really about customer engagement, customer contact, and where automation fits in and where you can really derive some considerable value, and recognizing that the majority of you in this room have that capability in your business today. And my experience is that the front office is always a part of the organization that is either too big, too scary, or quite frankly, too complex to try and tackle. Just the reassurance that if you do, there's huge opportunities for you to unlock some considerable value within that business.
So thank you, Huw, for sharing and simplifying the tech stack for us. I think we have time for one more question, and I'll give it to both of you. Huw, will continue with you. Tell us, what do you see as the biggest sort of risks and pitfalls for implementation?
So the first one, and it's come up earlier today, is trying to solve all problems, trying to solve 100% of the problem. You know, you're going to spend the majority of your time solving that last 10%, which quite frankly is not necessarily cost effective. Or when you look at some of the more complex queries, a human should potentially interact with that and really understand the context of it. So it's really look at 80, 90% of your opportunities, this huge efficiency. And when I mean efficiency, I'm not just talking about AHT reduction, it's assurance, quality assurance, compliance, first contact resolution. And a metric that's quite contemporary is customer effort. Huge advocate of the customer effort score. You know, try and solve for those key metrics. The second is interaction with those performing the task when you're building your automation. So, and it's a confusing statement now, but I often say build for agents, built by agents for agents, agents in the concept of a customer service representative. So involving those individuals who do the job, it's critical. They're all doing the role very differently, probably providing the end result or similar end results. When interacting with those individuals, you're emulating them. That's precisely what you're doing. The adoption is considerable, it's fast, and you have a real strong culture within the organization to continue to automate new tasks. So, you know, number one, don't boil the ocean. Number two is absolutely involve all stakeholders, bottom-up ideas. And the third is be explicit on your metrics and be very clear and concise on how you're measuring the impact. And I think there's a fourth, which is probably about discovery and depth of discovery. But it really all comes back to the listen, analyze, and act in terms of how you're able to execute.
And Mahesh, bring us home with some words of wisdom on implementation best practices.
Absolutely. I think we had some great stories before. I love Dan's story where he talked about how they actually went from 20% to 80%, and really kind of getting off the block. That's important. And when it comes to automation in the contact center, right? I still see as a industry professional that adoption is not that great. So the bad news is the time has passed, right? That you could have actually adopted, things could have moved further. Like leaders like Dan and others who had actually adopted it very well, they have actually they are going to be at the forefront of adopting the newer stuff that's coming in. But the good news is things like agentic AI and Gen AI actually change the game for all of us, right? So you don't need to create complex models to kind of really go and innovate in that space. So I think kind of latching on to this at this point, and those who have really lagging behind or kind of wanted to kind of let somebody like to be more late followers of technology and all that, I would say that it's time is here. I think the technology is here. Get off the block. I think we can implement, and the cost of doing this is actually, and trying it is much lesser. The impact is much lesser. You could actually, go to market within a month. Sometimes you don't have to wait for a year-long implementation, and then you're worried about it. So here, the implementation timeframes are very short. I think, it's time to get started, and I think I know the questions about pitfalls of implementation, but I would say that start to work on this technology is important, and I think focus on the impact, right? I think that's another piece, right? The impact, measuring that impact, and understanding it early on, and kind of really go for it, I would say.
So a combination of get started now,
yes,
yep.
but also don't boil the ocean.
Yes,
yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yes, simple problem.
Just boil an egg.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Well, thank you very much, both Mahesh and Huw, for your time.
Thank you.
Also for your very visible presence throughout Forward these past few days, and also the great work you did on the CX Companion, which we'll introduce in a minute. But before we do that, thank you very much. A round of applause for Mahesh and Huw.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Good job.
Okay, so with that said, let's now pass it over to my esteemed colleagues, Huw and Robert Love, who will demo the aforementioned CX Companion.
Hello, everyone. My name is Huw. I'm a contact center solutions architect here at UiPath. And then with me, I have my colleague.
Robert Love. I am a product manager for contact center and customer experience.
So we're excited to share some news and announcements with you on a solution that we just launched today in private preview mode. But before we go into detail about that, we just want to play a quick video.
In today's fast-paced world, customer expectations are higher than ever. They demand quick, efficient, and personalized service at all times. Ephraim works in a team that knows all about that and how overwhelming it all feels. The team navigates complex systems and tools, which means long waits for their customers who get frustrated. And then so do the agents. Stressful. Good news, Ephraim! There's a fantastic solution to this problem. Enter UiPath CX Companion, powered by AI and automation. This innovative technology revolutionizes customer service and improves the agent experience. It does this by providing someone like Ephraim with real-time guidance and automation, so he and the team build stronger customer connections and improves customer satisfaction. Imagine that! With CX Companion partnering with agents to listen to customer queries, understand their needs, offer solutions, and perform tasks, Ephraim no longer needs to put customers awkwardly on hold while he scrambles to get info and then having to apologize for the lengthy wait. With CX Companion from UiPath, you get increased efficiencies through reduced average handling times and resolving more queries, enhanced accuracy through more consistent and precise information, reduced agent workload. With CX Companion handling the routine tasks, you can focus on the customer need. Improved customer satisfaction with faster solution delivery and more personalized service. The Holy Grail, of course. All this means Ephraim and his team members can feel supported and empowered, while their customers benefit from a seamless, efficient service experience. That's made Ephraim's day. Why not make your day too? Join the future of customer experience automation powered by UiPath. Your customers and agents will thank you.
All right, so I think we can all agree that being a contact center agent today isn't really a glorious job, right? All the simple calls have been handled by virtual agents. Services and products being offered by companies are getting more complex. So we're excited to announce a solution that will hopefully, improve the agent experience, but also streamline the agent interaction as well. So what you just saw was our CX Companion. So the CX Companion is an interface that's user-centered design specific to the contact center agent. Complementing the CX Companion from an agent interface standpoint piece of it there is we have the Companion Configurator. What the Companion Configurator allows you to do is be able to customize the CX Companion so that from a branding, styling, and theming, it meets with your organization brand standards piece of it, and also customize in terms of what gets displayed or exposed to the contact center agents. And then the third component of it is we're providing process automation templates so that you can hit the ground running, shortening that time to value and providing that efficient experience in the shortest amount of time. So automation templates around start my day, pulling information from CRM systems, and other systems of records in that area. And for us, there are already automation tools that agents can use today, such as UiPath Apps, UiPath Forms. So why develop another interface for clients to use? And it's really a couple of different compelling reasons. The first part of it here is we wanted to incorporate what we call conversational context. So they're talking on they're either doing a chat interaction or they're doing a voice interaction. So why not get information from the contact center system so that we don't have to ask the agent to repeat the information to drive or trigger an automation. So getting information in terms of who called, what they're calling about, and then having that drive in automation will greatly improve the agent experience. The second part of it is we tailored this tool to be specifically on what we call agent-driven automation. So what we want to do is we want to give them a utility or an application that really allows them to do automation on demand, right? So whether or not it's a single automation or a multi-step automation, piece of it there, they can see the automation, they can see the progress of the automation, and they can see the activities that are taking place within that automation without having to swivel chair or toggle back and forth between another application. And then the third part is we recognize that we don't want typically today, agents already have 5 to 8 different applications that they need to use to solve customer problems. They might have the contact center application, they might have a CRM application, they might have a billing system and a ticketing system. So why introduce another application for automation? So we developed our CX Companion where it could reside in the main workflow application, whether as it's a widget or as a overlay object. So the idea here is expose the automation on demand when it's needed, have it become minimized or in the background when it's not needed, and they still exist within their main workflow application. So I think a picture is worth 1,000 words. So I'm going to have my colleague here, Robert, provide you a demonstration in terms of how a contact center agent would be using our solution to drive automation from a front office or a agent standpoint.
Thank you, Huw. So, should get my password right. All right, so I told you I was a product manager. What I didn't tell you is that I have a side gig. I am a call center agent for a large US bank. So I'm going to tell you what my day-to-day experience is like. So thankfully, I have the ability to work in the workspace that I typically work in to do all of my call center work anyways, but now I have it augmented by the CX Companion. And the CX Companion's attached to UiPath. It says what I can do, what permissions I'll have, what automations I'll be able to run on behalf of customers. So the first thing that I do, and I don't do this every day, I just do this every once in a while, I log in to UiPath, and then within the companion, I have the ability to execute automations, not just during a call, but at the start of my day. Right, so those types of things where I might need to log into various platforms, various desktop systems, web applications, I can do that, do it once, and then that prepares me to be able to take calls. So I am going to now set myself as available, and let's see how long it takes for, oh wow, okay. All right, that was quick. So I've got a Luke Mitchell calling in. I'm gonna go ahead and accept Luke's call. And as I'm doing that, I'm getting a lot of information. I'm starting to learn about what Luke's case is, but I'm getting the initial context from Luke. It was a card decline scenario. And now I've kicked off what's called a customer 360 process. So this goes and it retrieves information from any number of systems, in this case, billing systems, CRM systems, but it really prevents me from swivel chairing from one application to another and getting all of the essential details that I know I'm most likely to reference throughout the course of the call. So their account number, their particular credit limit, billing address, and things of that nature. So I see very clearly that Luke is from Arizona. Okay, wait, Luke's talking my ear off already. You can't hear him, but he is giving me a lot of details. And apparently, Luke was doing some shopping in Arizona and got a card decline. So he's trying to figure out what's going on. So first thing I need to do, though, is I need to make sure that this is a legit person, that this is actually Luke. So I have a validation flow, very customizable like many other things inside of the CX Companion. But this allows me to ask Luke, can you confirm your zip code, SSN, passcode, rapid fire? Come on, let's go. All right. And once Luke's validated, now we're going to kick off a new process to go and retrieve all of the different automations that are relevant to the context, the conversational context of this particular call. So knowing that it's about card decline, I see immediately a number of different automations relevant to fraudulent activity, card activation and deactivation. But as you know, sometimes calls will take left turn, right turn. So there might be some tangential automations I'd be able to switch to if necessary. right? But talking with Luke more, I realized the first thing that I need to do, Luke, I'm just going to pull up the most recent transactions for you. Give me one moment. You can see that it's all automatically pre-populating with information local in the browser cache that's specific to this call. So in this case, that's 6787 because I don't want to keep typing that in every time I run a new automation. And when I kick off that automation, one of the powerful things here for me as an agent is I get to see what's going on. So if that automation's running on another machine somewhere, I'm able to always be aware. I don't get antsy. I know when it started. I know when it ended. And I get all of the essential details throughout the course of the automation execution. So, Luke, I see your most recent transactions. Did you perhaps make any purchase with Amazon recently? No? How about a purchase in the UK? Okay, so it does look like your card has been blocked due to irregular transactions, and you're telling me that you did not do some of these suspicious transactions that I'm seeing here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to report some fraudulent activity on your account. And that'll go to our fraud team. They'll do a further deep dive investigation on it. But as a consequence, your card has been canceled. And we do have a case number for you. It's in our CRM. Happy to give you that case number as well, that reference number. Okay, yes, I am going to reissue a card. That was my next step, most probable next step. All right. And Luke, it looks like you will get that new card within 2 to 3 days. Is there anything else I can help? Oh, yes, sir, I understand. I do understand. I know you, yes, I realize you might not have funds now. That's okay. Well, you are a value customer. What we're going to do for you is we're going to initiate some emergency funds. Thank you for being a long-term customer with us. And as an agent, I continue to see execution started. And because I'm a new agent, because I'm moonlighting, I don't always know what to say. So it's really nice when I have these different prompts here where I can read out exactly what Luke needs to hear. So your daily limit using this method is $200. If you require additional funds, please contact us tomorrow, and we can assist in making more funds available subject to your account balance. So what you can do, Luke, is you can go into your local branch, access these funds for right now. Is there anything else I can help you with? Fantastic. Now, as an agent, if I needed to do or reference anything that I've done in this call or look back at anything, I've got a full record of everything that I did in this call. But at the end, I'm typically going to go through the process of doing the after-call notes. So instead of me using some notes program, hopping into another application, I can type all of those notes centrally here within the companion. And if I was a better agent, I would probably be doing it through the course of the call. But in this case, I will say customer did not travel to UK. All right. No need for anything else detailed there. And when I click to submit this, it's going to update all of the back-end systems that I might need to typically update at the end of the call, posting the notes, logging new case details. And then I'm ready to take the next call. So with that, going back to my regular job, I'm going to introduce you again to Scott, our host, who will continue throughout our program. Thank you.